Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Welcome to Jibber. Let's just talk for a while. I am your host, Skijaramaz, otherwise known as Tone Shift, and today we have an even bigger assortment of guests than episode 1. Who'd have thunk it? So, today I am joined by the author of the Change series, Tom117Z. And just as a little notice to anyone who doesn't know yet, I've started my reading on the second one. That'll go up on Tuesday. I am also joined by the author of Human Nature and Their Very Own Sons, going by the name of Blank Page. I also have joining me a number of my patrons. We've got Trinit2, who was Tobias last time. I'm using his username this time because, screw it, I can. Hades Shadow 92. I messed that up last time because last time I said Hades Shadow 97, which is wrong! And we also have joining us for the first time on Jibber Jabber, Neferata. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but frankly, I don't really care. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, my guests. Go ahead and say hi.
Hi. And then they fuck.
Hello.
Good day.
Well,
Tom.
You ended us off on a high note last time. You're starting us off on a high note. You know what that means? It's all downhill from here.
Well, isn't that just Jibber Jabbers in general?
I don't know. Last time we managed to keep it pretty consistently good, even though we were just winging it the whole damn time.
You can thank my singing voice.
Okay, really quickly, because we have a lot more people than we did last time, I would actually like to go through and actually get a really short introduction from each of you, just so that the listeners will actually have the voices straight. Should have done that last time. Tom, go ahead and just say something. I don't care. Introduce yourself. Say hi. I don't know. Do something.
Hi, Brian. My name is Tom, and I do stuff.
Okay, yeah. He's the British guy with the weird hiss in the background. Trinit2, go ahead and give an introduction for yourself. Short, brief, keep it to a few seconds, just so that the audience knows what you sound like.
Good day. I'm the guy who laughs most of the time.
He's the guy from Norway. You can tell because of the accent.
Some people think I'm Irish.
Top of the morning to you, laddies.
I don't know what that word is.
Dirty.
Anyways, Hades, your turn. Give a short intro.
Hey everybody, Hades here. Let's do this.
Yep. Blank, you're up.
Well, geez, if I would have known that I'd had to make a small intro.
And there's your intro. And Neferata.
Pleasure to join y'all.
That is quite an impressive background hiss, but, you know, I'll take it. Anyways, so just before we started recording, Tom actually had a suggestion for a topic for us to cover today. So for once, we're actually, well, for the first time, even though this is only time 2, we're actually going in with a plan. So since this is your suggestion, why don't you give a very quick overview about what the hell we're doing?
Well, you know Hasbro needed to hire a plumber recently. We don't need to do that anymore because they've actually released the episode titles of Season 8 on TV listings. Yeah. So we can actually talk about them since they're no longer technical leaks.
Yep. Official release of all 26 episode titles. And just probably going to spend a little while just speculating on that, I guess. Even though I personally don't like speculating myself because I'm always wrong. And speculation has a bad habit of getting my hopes up for unreasonable expectations.
Well, I think some of these titles I'm seeing we can kind of infer. Specifically, episode 3 is pretty self-explanatory, I think.
$5 says Mod and Starlight are going to become a thing against everyone's wishes.
Oh, God.
No. It probably won't. It'll probably be someone else.
Right. Well, just for context, for the people who don't have the visual aid of the episode list, the audience, episode 3 of season
8.
Thank you.
8.
Is called The Mod Couple. So
should we just go in order of episodes rather than skipping to 3?
Well, I mean, you mentioned The Mod Couple first, but yeah, let's go in order. So 1 and 2, School Days, Part 1 and Part 2.
Told you it was a school.
Well, that's for those of us who have actually bothered to see the leaked new intro. So if anyone hasn't seen that, well, I mean, apparently there's a school in the background. A big new friendship school or something. We don't know yet, but we can pretty safely assume that there's some sort of big and important new school of some variety, and that something weird is going to go on with that. Like, people are going to be dazed by it, and maybe some horrible evil is going to try and usurp it, because that's what happens in two-parters.
That's probably the last two-parter, judged by the title of that, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So, School Days, Part 1 and Part 2. Anyone have anything to add? I gave my thoughts. Very minimalistic, lackluster thoughts that they are.
Twiggles is best teacher.
Personally, I think we might see a return to our favorite CMC group, or it may involve them because reasons.
Well, yes, everything has reasons.
I'm just glad we're going to get some sea
Except
ponies.
Discord.
Hippogriffs.
Well, Discord. Discord has reasons. He just doesn't share them. Not that we'd be able to really comprehend them anyway.
Yeah.
This
My
door has
thoughts
teeth.
would be, this is gonna be a disaster.
Probably.
Anyway, episode 3, the Maud couple. That's a self-explanatory one.
Ma's gonna wind up in a relationship with someone. Who? People are probably gonna try and make it a ship with someone who already exists. Probably gonna be someone new, though.
Yeah, probably.
Hopefully.
Or it might be Double Diamond. Who knows?
No!
What if it was someone who was equally as deadpan as she was?
I mean,
Would the universe survive?
I don't know, would it?
Probably.
Probably.
I cannot comprehend the docileness of
Either that, or Boulder gets a romantic partner.
Just another,
Oh,
just
God.
a pink pebble. So Boulder and Pebble.
No, plot twist, it's Maud and the boulder.
Oh, God.
What was that, Blank?
Plot twist, it's Maud and the boulder. They get in the relationship.
Oh no.
What the hell would the sex with that look like?
Well, you see, it all happens when... these two
Okay. Let's move on. Let's at least keep
You're
this.
the one that brought it up.
I wasn't
BJ.
expecting him to actually start going on about it, though. Is the thing.
At least I'm tactful when it
It's
comes to that
blank.
subject.
Have I really been around long enough to warrant that's blank? I feel
Yes.
honored.
Anyways,
I think that's more me and Brian.
I'll let you. Next up is Fake It Till You Make It.
Walking Dead reference.
I was not aware of that, but I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know what character this could go with. Maybe Twilight or Starlight. Maybe what pops into my head thinking about that is if there's some big new friendship school or something that Twilight set up for whatever reason. Fake
Maybe
it till
someone
you,
just doesn't have what it takes to actually go to school and they're kind of just faking it or whatever.
or it could be one of the characters is teaching there and they don't really know what the fuck they're doing, and so they're just improvising and winging it.
I can imagine that from pretty much all of them.
It would probably make the most sense for Starlight, though, but who knows? We won't know till we get there.
Hey, Granny's gone wild. That's got to be Granny Smith.
I am
Yep.
so ready for that.
Oh, boy.
I've never been more hyped for it.
Incoming the grilled cheese sandwich references.
Grilled cheese? What?
Oh no.
You do not want to know. You do not want to know. You do not.
Why bring up terrible
Well, you say it
memories
like that,
from
and I do.
the old team speak? Why?
Because that title reminded me.
You're the one that always hated when everyone brought it up, and then you bring it up like a year
It's
later.
like PTSD. I can't fucking help it.
Anyway, moving swiftly on from Granny Smith's grilled cheese sandwich, Surf and or Turf. Episode 6.
I'm guessing a war between two different gangs of surfer bros in some port city or something, and members of the main six get to try and stop that. It might be a friendship problem. Hell, it might be Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie because she's
Cutie map.
yeah, like it might be a cutie map episode. That's what I would initially assume. Surf and or turf.
I'm just hoping for a disaster at a beach.
Oh, God.
Like a
Yeah,
tsunami.
It goes
what I
the
was
way
thinking
of
with-
everything happens the way of Manhattan in Queen of the Hive.
Oh God, that's thousands dead.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Next up, episode 7 is going to be called Horseplay.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Oh,
So there are any number of interpretations one could take from that. Either
It
we
could
get,
literally be a play.
it could literally be a play. It could also be that we actually get to see like actual horses and not just their tiny counterparts, the ponies. I mean, we know
Well,
they're
that'd be like the Saddle Arabians, wouldn't it?
Like
'Cause-
Saddle Arabia? or
well, maybe. I mean, we know horses exist. They were referenced in a song once, so
Well, we've seen them. The Saddle Arabians, they're horses.
well,
I
maybe.
reckon
Who
it's like
knows?
sports talk, in some reason, because like they got a
It
weird
might,
theme going along so far with most of these episodes.
maybe.
Seems like they're at a high school or university. Maybe it's like a
Also, next
Football.
title, episode 8 title I find interesting, or the parents map.
Is the
we
tree
get
of,
like
is the,
all of their main six's parents all in like one deal or something.
Either
All
that or
inside
something to
Applejack.
do with Shining Armor and Cadence.
Oh god.
like there's a friendship problem with those two? Ooh, that would be
Oh,
interesting.
Watch,
It sounds a
watch
lot.
them
Mhm.
getting into an argument over
It sounds a
something.
lot like The Parent Trap, but that was a movie. But it sounds similar. So an idea.
Oh,
could-
alright. I just saw the next title as well. After that, that's got to be a Flim and Flam episode.
What?
Non-complete clause.
Oh god. Do we have to bring those guys back?
Either Flim and Flam or some
Classics.
similar trickery and lie and snake oil salesman nonsense.
Well, Iron Will, potentially, again.
I mean, potentially.
or both.
I mean, that guy's manipulative as fuck with his contracts. No
Again,
refunds!
Yeah, and Flim and Flam currently own a casino, so they're pretty well off.
Yeah.
The breakdown is next.
Well, something goes
I'm
wrong?
guessing either something goes wrong with whoever the hell Maud winds up with, or Big Mac and Sugar Bell have a falling out.
Possibly.
Which honestly, I would like to see that their relationship explored more because it just kind of showed up. I'm not against it, but I do want it to be explored more.
Yeah, I could see that being about Big Mac and Sugar Bell, following up on that. At which point it might just end up being another CNC episode with them kind of being the central plot point, but who knows?
I mean, CNC might be in it, or it might be Applejack on the side trying to figure out how the hell to help her big brother as he's going through an emotionally traumatic experience.
Or just a main 6 light episode.
Might be. So...
Malt Down, episode 11.
Oh, I thought that said Mott down. Molt down.
Molt.
No idea.
No idea.
molting is like shredding for birds, ain't it?
No,
Oh,
birds,
yes.
birds and insects, so it might have something to do with the changelings.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a changeling reverts back to their previous self, like goes from colorful and pretty to dark and full of holes.
How they should be.
Instantly?
It's a
Well,
matter
I
of
can already-
perspective, really.
From the leak I came across ages ago that I'd already mentioned, previous Jibber Jabber, I can already see which title is the chrysalis episode.
Yeah.
Personally, as a
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard one.
Let's see,
Sorry, Nat, what were you saying?
personally as a changeling writer, I would say that I personally would prefer the battle tested black, whereas the new colors, their new forms, have yet to be tested in any form of hoof to hoof combat. So I prefer
Except for
that.
Fang. Well, actually, he was still. I think, wasn't he?
Anyways, number 12 is Marks for Effort.
That's got to be back to the school.
Oh yeah, probably.
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 Probably
Pretty
trying maybe someone trying to figure out how to properly grade a paper or something or some shit, and it just all goes catastrophically wrong because, I mean I see good points here, but it wasn't the answer I was looking for. But they're good points, so I mean like A for effort, and then that encourages the student to go in the absolute wrong direction, leading to a catastrophe somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Number 13 is
That's the chrysalis episode, probably.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I'm figuring like maybe clones of the main 6 and like
or
can
voodoo
say-
mind
I saw-
control.
That's the episode where that has the disturbing scene. I'm not going to spoil.
no spoiling.
Yeah, so
And the kids moment.
Mean 6. That says to me, like one of you said, either clones or like voodoo magic mind control.
We've seen the promo for that already with the taking the pictures of Rainbow's butt.
The animatic.
Yeah.
Elements of disharmony, yo.
Elements of disharmony.
I came across a spoiler while browsing, and which was annoying. But I know the answer to that.
We'll see. Let's see.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I'm not. I'm just saying I know what that episode is. So
number 14, A Matter of Principles. I'm guessing whoever the current principal of the school is going to be called out for bullshit.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Twilight or
be Twilight.
Either that or it's Prince Shining Armor episode. Like that'll ever happen.
Principles can also mean morals. So it could be
That's true.
a shift from one thing to another, from one principle or ideal to another.
Or like how you refuse to buy something from a specific company on a matter of principle.
And then
I think that's a
episode
different spelling
15,
in principle.
Housewarming again.
Housewarming Club.
Which also, supposedly we're also meant to get Christmas special after season 8 at the end of the year, so that would be literally a year gap between them.
Is it actually going to be a Christmas, like on Christmas, or are they just going to throw it in May like they did the last one?
But the actual after season special, if it's true, I'm not sure. Probably just in Christmas season.
I don't really know what the Housewarming Club will be about. I mean, none of us know. We're speculating, and I don't really have any ideas as to what to guess about it.
Just,
I think it's pretty safe bet
Christmas.
that it's going to be an Easter special.
Anyway, episode 16, Friendship University. Back to the school.
Maybe
Back
this is
to
the
the
grand
school.
fucking opening.
Well, I assume that would happen in school days. Because I had a few school ones.
Let's see here. The end of Friend.
The
end in Friend.
Oh,
So,
the end.
friendship problem, blatantly.
Yep. Maybe it's one of those cases where, like, sometimes a friendship is better left ended than continued because it's trying to continue. Some friendships might actually cause more harm than good, like a toxic type situation.
I'm
Possibly.
thinking Starlight and Trixie.
Maybe, or
Ugh.
someone we know has a falling out with someone.
Maybe.
I'd say
Anyway.
Trixie and Starlight have already had a falling out a little bit, so...
Teacup!
Teacup! To be fair, that's just adorable, and I'm pretty sure Starlight finds it cute, too. The only reason she was annoyed at the time is because the teacups broke her tea cakes.
I think that
And she lost the map.
personally,
But that wasn't a teacup thing. That was just an unrelated incident.
Just in the same episode.
I think this episode is pretty self-explanatory because my idea is that it'll involve those two brats, Silver Spoon, whatever her name was, and Diamond Tiara. The two bullies.
They're not bullies anymore, though. They've been for a couple of seasons.
They haven't even really shown up for a couple seasons, except for like a cameo on Diamond Tiara's part, just kind of showing up and rolling her eyes at her dad because he was
And
lazy.
they already did the thing where their friendship ended, and they literally mended fences. So, anyway, episode 18, which I initially misread. Sax.
Oh,
You thought it was yakety
Yakety
sex?
I had to do a bit of a reread on that.
It's like, wait, what? The mating habits of yaks? No, Hasbro!
That's just you two and your mindset.
I
at this
blame
point.
Brian because he was going
I would
too in
probably
detail.
have read the same thing.
He was going a bit too in
Horrible
detail on what
influence.
he imagined happened in the background of my stories. So, I blame him
Scissors!
entirely.
No,
What happens in Little Wing's room stays in Little Wing's room.
Oh,
Until someone decides to write a side story that covers that in explicit detail.
I'd
I
rather
can
they
see
didn't.
you doing that.
Not
No.
me. Not doing that.
I would probably report that.
But as for what might actually happen in Yakety Sax, I'm guessing the yaks are gonna
A saxophone would probably be involved.
or just music in general. Like maybe it's some sort of yak celebration that involves a lot of their weird music. So,
And smashing.
like smashing shit
Not perfect.
might be their drum set, like just like smash the log, and that's their drums, just the sound of smashing shit.
Pinkie Pie episode, most likely, because, Pinkie Pie and Yaks.
Yeah, most.
Episode 19 is called On the Road to Friendship. I can't help but get the feeling it might be a follow-up to the end in Friend, where whatever friendship went tits up there gets resolved in that one, but I don't know for sure.
Or it could be a road trip.
I feel like it'll be a Discord episode with another lesson with.
Well, I mean, we know Twilight tolerates Trixie's presence, but we know she doesn't like her. So maybe those two end up getting lumped into something because we know Trixie has that wagon that she uses and basically lives on the road. So maybe for one reason or another, Twilight has to go along with her for something, and they get closer. So like, okay, yeah, you're not a total bitch.
Since they tolerate each other, but they still don't like each other very much.
Personally, this is just me, but I would love to see some profanity between Twilight and Trixie.
Profanity, like actual swearing?
Yeah.
Like them getting in each other's face and just literally going at it.
I don't mean to let you down, but I doubt there's going to be profanity anytime soon.
Yeah, I doubt we're going to be
Probably
hearing Trixie shout, "You cunt nugget!"
Maybe you fucking horse or something like that.
No.
Anyway, episode 20, The Washouts. Already something to do with
Back to the school again.
Yep. That seems to be a theme of the season.
Apparently.
Cool.
Hopefully not.
A rock hoof and a hard place is next up. That says to me that we're going to be seeing that Legends guy again, Rockhoof, with the shovel.
Yeah. Well, they are 1,000 years out of time. I would imagine they're having difficulties. Yes. Well, they're even more out of time than the freaking Crystal Empire was.
I'm about to say, I'd really like to see what the rest of the pillars would go through. Like, not just Rockhoof, and maybe some of the others, too.
When they left, Manhattan was probably just like a Ponyville-esque place. Now it's like the
not even like
technological powerhouse of the entire damn country.
Let's hear. Next up is What Lies Beneath. I'm guessing that might actually have something to like maybe like a small scale follow up to the thing that happened in the season 7 finale with Stygian and the Well of Shadows and all that.
Either that, or because literally the word lies potentially Applejack. And honesty and all that.
Maybe.
Or Diamond Dogs.
Yeah, or Diamond Dogs.
Haven't seen them in a long time. Don't really want to.
Or Tartarus.
Or Tartarus. Well, let's go
to Tartarus.
Let's look at Hell some more. We've already seen it once or twice, but only like in fleeting glances. Maybe explore it a bit more. Flesh out that bit of the world.
Yeah, explore Tartarus.
Maybe figure out get some backstory on how they actually made that damn place.
I've always operated under the impression that it wasn't a place made by ponies. It's just something that ponies, on rare occasion, have cause to interact with when they're disposing of very large things.
Not necessarily made by ponies, though. Like what its origin was. We know that they have some control over Cerberus, the dog.
Yeah, or at the very least, they have a means of returning Cerberus. I always operated under the impression that Tartarus is an independent thing that doesn't adhere to pony rules, but ponies do sometimes interact with it, kind of like Hell in the Bleach universe, where Hell is its own, is completely separate entity from its counterpart, the Soul Society. And in that series, Soul Reapers don't have any direct influence on Hell. And in fact, that only a handful ever actually interact with the place.
Literally, Hell. It's been stated. I think it was when Cerberus episode that it's a prison.
Yeah, it's a prison. It's basically a massive underground prison with Cerberus and a lot of wards, magical shit.
Where they send the biggest offenders, like Turek and such.
Turek, yep.
Maybe we'll see Turek again.
Maybe we'll see a shriveled up old Turek holding the chains of his cage, like, "Oh, hello! I'd love to eat your magic, but I'm stuck."
That reminds me. Did you see that? Before we move on, there was one of the writers put just after season 7 ended. They put a Facebook message on which showed an image of Turek.
But, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I imagine Turek will at least be showing up very briefly this season. I don't think he'll be having a big role. Probably just showing up briefly, just so that people can be like, "Hey, hello." But this is some pretty severe speculation we're doing here, so.
Yeah. The Sounds of Silence would be episode 23.
Hello,
darkness, we break out into an edgy song.
I have a theory. No, I have a theory. Pinkie Pie loses her voice.
Like she parties so hard tonight, and then when she wakes up, it just comes out as like a dry and almost silent.
Trixie sealed her mouth shut in.
Well, yeah, but her vocal cords were still working, so she could still make sounds. She just couldn't articulate words. More like she actually wears her voice out from screaming too loud at a really energetic party or something. And when she gets up the next morning, it's just, oh no, I can't. Oh shit. kind of
Yes.
thing. Where her voice just
I
dies
so
for a few
vaguely
days.
their words.
Also, I'm going to be quiet for the next episode because I saw a leak for that one as well, so I know it.
Father knows beast.
I will say that's going to be an important episode.
I mean,
Which father are we talking about here?
I shouldn't say.
Well, then don't.
I'm not.
Shining.
I'm guessing either Twilights or Fluttershy's.
I mean, there are a number of dads in the show, though one of them we've only ever seen once. So I'm guessing it would be Nightlight, Bo Hothoof, or Shining Armor.
Excuse me while I just laugh. Ha 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 ha.
I take it
Eyebrow
we're not even
slowly
close.
raises up.
You remember that episode where Pinky got told that Cadence was pregnant and she struggled to keep it in? That's me right now.
I'm about
Because
to
I know-
say-
because it's an important episode.
And you'll also go, poof, and be a lot of bits once we finally find out. What?
Yes. And then
No.
tell him what to put him back together.
And then School Raised, Part 1 and Part 2 to wrap things up.
Well, I guess
Raised
that
equals fire, so something could. So the school gets blown up, destroyed. What? Chris
The
West
school
got
gets attacked by an army of villains.
What villains? There aren't any left!
We get the return of, I swear, we get like the return of Tirek, Sombra, and all these ones that we thought were dead, and then they just come back and say, nope, we're going to screw you over.
Well, I mean, Sombra is dead and was confirmed more than one time to just be, he's not coming back. So probably not him. Maybe Tirek if he gets really crafty and is able to slip out of Tartarus.
Well, just a new villain entirely. They haven't used Grogar.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Villain. Who knows?
I think a love triangle between Sombra, Cadence, and Shining could be funny, but that's just.
What about Chrysalis, Shining, and Cadence?
Oh, that would be awesome.
I'm pretty sure Chrysalis despises them all. Everything. Well, she hates everything as Chrysalis, but you know.
It could be one of those things where it's like where it's not where it's like I love to hate you. I want to hate fuck you kind of thing.
I don't think so, Brian.
Jeez, man.
And, but then
Stop at the hate.
sorry, they natural born. Well, somewhat natural born alicorn, but we don't know. That could where it could be partly, changeling because her dad was under Chrysalis' control for a while, so that could be something.
I also want to hear Flurry Heart's first words at some point. I want an episode to come up where Flurry.
you.
I want an episode to come up where Flurry Heart starts talking. Be it this season or next.
Anti-Twawi.
Yeah, I want.
I'd imagine that would be season 9, the end.
Aw.
Yeah. I want to hear Flurry Heart say something besides.
Blah.
What?
No, that's Little Wing. That's Little Wing.
I know, it's how to steal my shit.
Watch him just do that. Copyright Tom 117Z.
No one else can ever use the word blah.
Trademark it.
He's freaking trademarking.
For that one, why didn't we have Sombra be Little Wing's full sitter? That would have been hilarious.
Oh god.
Oh god.
I don't think Rainbow Dash would have let him within 1,000 miles.
Probably not.
20,000.
Man, when I get to to certain parts of Little Choices, that's gonna be fun.
Oh dear.
Well, actually, no, not even Little Choices, Little Consequences. Excuse me.
Sombra's going to be in consequences, is he?
You're bringing Sombra? Oh goodness.
Slowly grins.
Oh.
Yes.
Baby.
You evil, evil person.
You have no idea.
Well, it makes sense.
I
'cause
have
the
some
Pokemon
idea.
finally returned during that time period.
Yeah, I mean,
And since the timeline's already fucked up because Rainbow Dash has done a stupid,
no, the timeline's already fucked up because Rainbow Dash got distracted as a kid.
well, it's even more fucked up because Celestia went through all that effort to try and put things back on track. Things have been back on track because of all things with Discord went mostly the same. And then Rainbow Dash decides, I'm going to find Starlight Glimmer.
Bear in mind, there are people in here who are not caught up, so try and refrain from uber spoilers. I'm looking at you, Hades.
What?
Hades is still on Little Glimpses. He hasn't reached choices yet, so, shh, it's a secret anus.
God damn it, Hades, why are you so slow?
I have shit to do.
We all have shit to do.
You had shit to do, and then you read all of The Mare That Eats the Monsters in one sitting.
Good night, man. How can you have that much?
How many words is Mare That Eats the Monsters in total?
One sitting. Get them done. I can do two.
I mean, let me go check. I mean, it's 15 chapters, a prologue, and an epilogue, so 17 entries, and I usually clock in at about 2,000-ish words for primary chapters and 1,000 words for cap points, so prologue and epilogue, so...
to be fair, Little Glimpses is longer than The Mare That Eats Monsters.
Oh, yeah, by a fair margin. The Mare That Eats the Monsters was 35,000 words, so like a novella at most.
I can see that in one sitting, because I normally read Fallout Question chapters in one sitting, and they can go up to that kind of length. The largest Fallout Question chapter I ever read was 50,000. I did that in 2 sittings.
Which is literally long enough to be considered a novel.
And again, that's just the original. Wait till you get into the real stuff of Project Horizons.
I'm reading Project Horizons now. I'm over halfway through.
I don't plan on reading Project Horizons.
I'm just at the part where they ended Hightower.
Hightower. Oh, yeah, and goodness, that was a fun ride.
Xanth made friends with an undead zebra suit.
Yep.
And Little Glimpses was more like 86,000 words.
So if I could finish that in one sitting, I think there was something
185,000 words.
Huh?
Change Queen of the Hive, 185,000 words.
Show off.
Soaring on Little Wings is going to clock in about 100,000, potentially.
Little Choices might actually wind up at about that same amount, because I'm actually figuring it might wind up being longer than Little Glimpses by 10 to 15 chapters. We'll see.
Dude, I'm at 120,000 on Human Nature. I'm not even halfway through it.
And you've got like 3 other sequels in mind.
I do. No, I got like 3, 4, 5? No, 5 entries.
Just make sure each one can stand on its own.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure this one ends on a way that it can like be on its own. That way, I don't feel too bad if I don't get around to getting to a sequel.
Yeah, and that way I don't have to commit myself to reading your stuff for literally years.
I know, man. I feel so bad.
I mean, I love your stuff, but good God, it takes so long.
I know. It does. I used to be able to crank them out so fast, but I don't know what happened.
And I mean, and the main reason why I'm still doing my reading of Human Nature is because I'm fucking committed to that now. That was my first reading. Like, when I first started doing fan fiction readings on March 31st, like 5 fucking years ago, the very first chapter of a fanfic reading I ever did was the prologue of Human Nature. I did it.
How many fics have you completed in the meantime?
And I'm honored that you did that.
Well, I also didn't ask, which I felt kind of bad about, which is why I brought it up a few days later. But fics I've actually finished, Tom. Let me go check, because I mean, I started Human Nature, and then I started Memory Pending, and I finished Memory Pending.
But you didn't finish Forgiveness.
I did not, and I'm not going to, so don't. Just don't go there. Do not.
I guess we've
sad horse noises.
Sad horse noises. I've been over why many times. I'll reiterate, and I'll just reiterate it was no longer fun for me to do. It doesn't help that at about the time I stopped was when my depression was reaching its most severe, but it was becoming more of a chore and less fun to do. Is why I stopped, and I do this because I enjoy doing it. If a story becomes a hassle, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, I know the reasons. I just like giving you shit about it.
So I've noticed. So does the rest of the
comment section. So you literally had a great depression?
Oh, man.
Did you really just do that?
I will very strongly ask that you not make that kind of pun again. That's not funny. It's actually not.
That was terrible, Trent.
It's not just that. That was actually a very rough time in my life, and I don't like it being joked about.
Yeah.
Taste.
it wasn't meant as a joke.
It was a pun. It's close enough.
I've had my moments of depression too.
Yeah.
We all have.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure none of you had it going on constantly for 3 years, but this isn't a who's suffered the worst contest. Let's keep moving.
Let's get back to happy things.
Yes, let's.
Happy thoughts.
What the hell were we talking about?
Me taking forever to write is one of the topics.
Right.
Human natures.
So I was actually answering what all stories I had managed to finish. So I wasn't, and I also started reading a full Necromancer, but I stopped on that because on my second run through actually doing the reading, I started to notice a lot of glaring issues that I had with the narrative. Notably, death seemingly had no longer had any consequence, not just for the main character, but everyone around them. Because Cadence in that story displayed the ability to just resurrect someone, even though that's something she was never shown to be able to do in the show. And that bugged me because it completely eliminated the weight and impact death is supposed to have. And the main character was just overpowered as all hell.
Neff, your mic is...
Whatever you're using as a microphone, it keeps getting bumped.
It's very annoying.
Yeah.
Now after the debacle, that was full Necromancer and Forgiveness pending, coming to a close. I believe the next one I did was Shadow Dancers, I believe was the next one I did. Oh, actually, no, I did start a reading of A Beautiful Swallow, but I soft canceled that reading after a while because it was no longer healthy for me to be doing that one. Writing or reading, so that got soft canceled. After that is when I did Shadow Dancers. That was fun. Then I did Mother a while after that. And it was a little while after... Tom shivering over there. It was a little while after I did Mother that I got started on my reading of Change, which I recently finished back in December.
Neff, your mic is still doing it.
Like, if you're moving your microphone around, it's making that noise, so...
Actually, the big pointer for me is it was when you began our reading of the Change that I actually discovered your channel.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I started uploading really regularly again, because even though I started about 5 years ago, there was a good 1 or 2 year gap where I just kind of fell off the radar and stopped doing anything on my YouTube channel aside from the occasional video. And this was largely because of, one, my depression was making it very hard for me to focus on my work, and I was just worn out. I wasn't enjoying reading, writing, or recording. All three of those things felt like a slog and a hassle, and I didn't want to. Blame my depression and the social anxieties I had at the time, but I'm past those now, as is evidenced. But after that, I got started on my reading of Change, finished that in December. I also started a reading of The Bug and the Herd, and I finished that in a few months. I did a reading of Spark Visions of Twilight by Tangerine Blast, who I wish would show up for one of these episodes of Jibber Jabber someday, but I don't think she has a microphone.
There were only 2 episodes in, eh? There's still plenty of time.
I guess, but I mean, again, I'm pretty sure she doesn't have a mic. Our direct messages would have made use of them by now if she did. But anyways,
what we could do. Never mind, go ahead.
Yeah, well, anyway. And I finished that. I actually have an amusing little anecdote I want to cover about that later. But and about that time, I believe I also started on the exclusive reading of Soaring on Little Wings, which you can only find on Patreon. So that's not finished yet, but it's not even done being written yet. But I'm working through it.
Yeah. It's over half. Soaring on the Wings is over halfway to completion by this point.
Yeah. And after I started on, and after I finished Spark Visions of Twilight, I've begun a reading of Little Glimpses, which I haven't finished yet, but I'm getting close to being halfway done. It's a 40-chapter story, and I did chapter 13, I think it was, yesterday. So, I mean, like, I'm making progress. And I also, just last week, on Tuesday, started my reading of Queen of the Hive, the sequel to Change, and the first episode of that will be going up in a couple of days.
Tom, you just finished that, didn't you, Tom?
Yeah, I just finished that.
Yeah,
Today.
he just posted the last chapter epilogue and amusing bonus chapter earlier.
Yep. Well, half amusing and then it gets serious at the end, and then Discord does a Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, that he does, and I helped write the bonus chapter.
Oh dear.
Did you remember to supply credit to me for helping out with that, by the way?
I did, yes.
Okay, good.
In the author's note.
Just wanting to make sure on that. The door had teeth.
Oh god.
That was the first thing I added. Twilight walking into the library, looking up, teeth.
Brian,
This door has teeth.
There's something you now must do. Go into that chapter, go to those final 2 lines, and get in character and read them.
Oh my fucking god, man. Okay. Alright.
Bear in mind, the line he's about to read comes at the end of a very super serious heart-to-heart Discord and Twilight had. That's like foreshadowing the future for the final story. And then he ends it with this, because it's Discord.
Alright, everyone shut up so I can do this. Oh boy. Making me do this in the middle of jibber jabber time. Come on, you stupid son of a fucking... Alright, so. Alright. But I do have one last piece of advice before I return to Canterlot and see what's happening up there. Oh? What is it? Go see Facade, because you really need to get laid. Discord!
Remember to breathe, Tenet.
Oh my lord!
It was Discord. I couldn't have him end off on a serious note.
Oh,
Oh,
you
my
two are just. Ugh.
my lungs!
Oh, and hey, just wait until we write about Princess Luna and Trixie going to the pound.
Oh no!
I'll get into that in a minute, but first there is another funny little anecdote.
idiocy, though.
Yeah, but-
than true. Like the bonus chapter, despite its comedic moments, it did have a very serious bit. The whole point of that line at the end was just because it's Discord and he doesn't do anything serious for long.
Yeah. But before we get to talking about Trixie and Luna going to the pound, and we are talking about that, I want to. But before we get to that, there is something else I want to talk about, that amusing anecdote in relation to Spark Visions of Twilight and its author, Tangerine Blast. So, it's just kind of this amusing tidbit where I have this weird habit of when I start a reading of someone else's story, I seem to become friends with them if it's a multi-chapter one. If it's a one-shot, it generally doesn't happen that way, but oftentimes if I do a multi-chapter reading, I'll become friends with the author because I send them a link to every single chapter and we'll just make interesting remarks about my performance. And they'll make remarks. And they'll make remarks and I'll respond. That's exactly what happened with Tom and I just kept sending him my chapters as I was putting them out like on a daily basis. And we just jibber jabbered back and forth for a while. Haha, title drop.
Face palm.
Yes, face hoof. Get it right. Now,
I'll do both.
No. Now, and the same thing happened with Tangerine Blast while I was working through Spark Visions of Twilight. Interesting little story, fun. I enjoyed it, and had probably one of my favorite times I got to voice Discord to date. But as I was going through that, and I finished the whole reading, and informed Tangerine that hey, I completed, and she's like, yeah, I'm on like chapter 1. and it's a chapter with I think 17 chapters. I think is how long it is. It's something like that. It's in the double digits. And I was waiting for Tangerine Blast to go through it, and after a while, I get this message saying, "Dude, you have got to stop being so good at this." Because here's the thing. Apparently, even though Tangerine Blast wrote that story herself, listening to my voiceover of it was apparently making her get emotional, especially when I got to Pinky's backstory in it.
I can see why. You made me hate Immortalis more than I already did, and I wrote the bloody character.
I mean, I try. What can I say? If only I could use my voice filters right now. Otherwise, I would have just turned on the changeling voice filter, and you would have had PTSD cold sweat flashbacks to Tredelis.
Yeah.
That'd be fine by me.
Well, anyways, but well, I can't use my voice filters right now, sadly. So,
Aww.
I wish I could, but for my current recording setup, it's not an option. If I can figure out a workaround in the future, then yes, but for now, I can't. Now, anyways, let me see here. Okay, so, Neff, I think your mic's doing weird crap again. Hold on.
When you're adjusting it, can you mute it?
That would probably help, yeah.
All right, got it set up right now. It may work, it may not. Well, it works for the time being, so that's what counts.
Indeed. Anyway, so but like, and it just if I've
Snap!
hit that mute button until it's not moving.
Only unmute when you have something to say.
Oh, so harsh.
Don't
We still love you, Neff.
don't be a
We still love you.
No homo.
No homo.
I honestly can't tell if Neff's voice is a guy's or girls, though. Neff, confirm.
Guy.
Okay, thank you.
Sounded a bit guy.
You call me out.
No offense. I legitimately could not tell. Mic quality is kind of poor, and your voice is
Brian,
higher.
of course there's a guy.
That's
There's
not
no girls on the internet.
That's a bullshit
Nice.
statement. Tangerine Blast, the person we were talking about just a minute ago.
I know.
Nah, they don't have a mic. We can't tell for sure.
Well, I can tell from the way they act. Oh shit! Did that come off as sexist? Oh shit! I am so sorry. I am sorry. That was a short-sighted remark. I am sorry.
At least mine was intended as a joke.
I'm sorry. That was a very poor choice of words.
Better watch out. Someone might get offended.
A million
dislikes.
SJW feminists are gonna flood this video.
The video goes up and he loses 90% of his subscribers.
Fuck. I'm sorry. Anyways, but back on topic. Whatever the topic was. But like continuing on with that anecdote, I just find it very entertaining because like Tangerine said, like you got to stop being so good at this. You're like I have to stop every 5 minutes to breathe because like you kept closing in on an even more emotional part. It's just like, oh, I'm good apparently. I decided to ignore that part and ignore the part about her saying you got to stop being so good at this, and decided to focus on the part where I got to take a break every 5 minutes just to breathe so I don't burst into tears. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Here, have a Squirtle. And I sent her a cute picture of Squirtle nuzzling at Ash's shirt to try and comfort her, and it was cute and amusing. And then there was a time not all that long ago. This is a savage moment. I think you all remember it, but just I think you all remember this, but I'm gonna run it by for the YouTube audience. I was talking with Tangerine Blast, asked her, "Have you gotten any further than that reading yet?" And she said, "Oh yeah, I got all the way up to chapter 8, and then I decided to get a job." I know she didn't mean it like that, but it sounded like an attack. So my immediate response was to type in italics, "gut punched." And she quickly realized,
yeah, Brian, your fix, mate. Your fic readings made her get a job. Shame on you.
No, it's more like, oh yeah, that was fun, but then I decided to get a life and your shit became meaningless. It's how the back of my brain interpreted that. Thankfully, that's not what she meant, which I am happy about. But it was fun to poke, to give her shit over that. So it's like, oh no, I definitely mean that as an insult. It's like, I know. I'm just giving you shit.
Hold on, I have a phone call.
Okay, you go have a phone call. So while Tom's doing his phone call, I will talk about Luna and Trixie going to the pound.
Oh dear.
So, consider this is almost like an advertising blurb at this point, because this is a story he and I are going to write for the Idiocyverse, another random comedy one-shot. As a refresher course for those who don't know what the Idiocyverse is, think about the time where Maud got excited, the one with Gummy and Boulder, the time Twilight pranked Celestia, Idiocy in Spring, and others in that general vein. Weird, random, crazy stories written by myself and Tom. They're all part of this sort of contained continuity called the Idiocyverse, which is just a series of things that are all they all take place in the same sort of slightly off-center version of MLP, where weird...
you talking about Idiocyverse now?
Yeah, where weird, crazy, and random shit just happens on Saturday. So the time...
It's a Saturday.
Oh yeah, Twiggles the Bunny and Starlight's... Twiggles the Bunny and Twilight's Castle was another one. So this one, Luna and Trixie go to the pound, actually came about because of Tom sending me a picture and claiming it was an impossible choice. Most of you are probably already familiar with this from the general chat last night, but what it basically was is it was a picture of Luna and Trixie, both as really tiny and adorable fillies looking up with these big, hopeful, happy smiles, and a caption that says, "You get to adopt one of these, the other you have to sell to the nearest glue factory. What do you choose?" My response was, after maybe half a minute of contemplation, I'm going to take Trixie, and then later I'm going to launch a Splinter Cell rescue operation and get Princess Luna.
I mean, I pointed out why you didn't just run away with both in the first place, but sure.
No, I mean, because that wasn't, one of the options. The thing didn't specify that I couldn't come back.
Neither was Splinter Cell.
I mean, it specified I could buy one of them, but I would have to sell the other. It did not say I couldn't later go back and launch a rescue operation.
Yeah, fuck the rules.
It might.
Didn't somebody say something about taking Luna and just say screw Trixie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was me.
Trixie's trash.
Well, anyways, the reason I would adopt a filly Trixie is so that I could raise her to not be an insufferable snot.
Well, she's getting better slowly.
Oh yeah, she's still she's still a snot, but she's no longer an insufferable snot. Now she's an endearing snot.
Teacup.
And the basic idea, we've got like 8 minutes left, so I kind of got to power through this. The idea is it's during the celebration when Thorax, Discord, Starlight, and Trixie get their medals of honor for helping with the Chrysalis thing at the end of season 6, and this is happening at the celebration at the start of season 7. And Neff, your mic's moving again.
Really badly.
Yeah. And Luna is relatively close by, just kind of within earshot and occasionally weighing in as Starlight and Trixie banter back and forth. And Trixie, being the socially inept individual she is, makes a very lewd remark towards Starlight, one you would only want to have someone make to you in private if you were actually committed to them like that, which I think we should have them be in this story, Tom. Wink, wink. But But that remark is made, and Luna is right there in earshot, and just kind of smirks over. And so, in a panic, like, oh shit, that's royalty right there, Trixie, you dumb fuck, Starlight sort of unleashes like a shockwave of panic magic to try and shut Trixie up. The problem is she catches Luna with this panic magic shockwave too, and it knocks both Trixie and Luna into the next room, where they wind up going through the mirror portal to Equestria, or to Equestria Girls setting, to Camelot High. Thing is, Starlight doesn't know about that portal yet. She doesn't know about that until a bit later, I've always figured. So they wind up falling through. She doesn't know where the hell they went, or even that they fell through a portal, because, like, big, bright flash of light, she didn't see that happen. So she goes running off in a blind panic, like, Twilight, I think I incinerated Luna and maybe Trixie. And because her magic, and her magic interfered with the portal because, like, rocked it when they were going through, so the thing that would turn them into humans doesn't quite work right. So instead of coming through as teenage humans, they come through as tiny tiny fillies.
And then Derpy happens.
Yeah, and then Derpy spots them, and not at all perturbed by talking animals because Spike the dog,
and Derpy.
and it's derpy, she decides, ooh, some stray animals. I should call the pound. She calls the pound and then holds their attention with a muffin until the pound comes up and snatches them up. Sunset witnesses.
She just thinks they're really weird dogs.
Real weird dogs with horns. Anyways, and Sunset and maybe some of the other groups see this happen, and this leads to a Splinter Cell Black Ops style rescue operation. Way over the top, considering they're just breaking into a pound when they could just walk in and say, oh yeah, those are mine. I forgot that they got out of the yard. I'll pay the fine. They could just do that, but no. They go in like full night vision goggles, dark clothing, Twilight, like in a van a few blocks away with high-tech computer equipment trying to guide them through the layout of the pound. And I'm figuring it would be Sunset and Fluttershy making the rescue attempt. And then they find Luna and Trixie, and Luna's just scared off all of the guards by using her telekinesis to make them think there were ghosts in the building.
Luna's
and they all
already
ran away.
escaped by the time they get there, because she's a filly, but she's still an adult brain. So,
Yeah. So you know, like they've already escaped, or they scared off all the guards. So and they're like I just have this picture, just Luna just sitting in front of the bars of her cage, just looking kind of disgruntled, and Trixie's in the background doing that thing where she levitates the thing in front of her hoof, making it look like she's using her hoof to levitate it, but it's just her telekinesis, like what she did with that half-eaten apple. Something like that, and I just have that cute little mental image, and that's the basic premise.
Turns the cage into a teacup.
I don't. What?
Teacup.
Teacup. Fallout Equestria.
Oh, God.
I'm sure you've all seen that video.
Yeah.
Trixie
Where
goes
Trixie
to.
does a fallout.
Yeah. It was one of the videos in the Weird and Pointless playlist from last year. Trixie attempted to turn the salt shaker into a teacup. She fucked it up. She tried again and I edited it so that instead of turning it into a teacup, she caused a balefire mega spell nuclear explosion. and the way I did that is I just took the clip of Rainbow Dash accidentally crashing that giant snowball into Ponyville and the mushroom cloud that made, and just gradually colored the screen green as it expanded. And then just gradually faded it out with the loud siren blaring in the background, and then ta-da! As it shows a ruined Ponyville. Ta-da! As it shows a ruined Ponyville. It was such a fun video to make, and I want more ideas for Idiocyverse content, but the problem with Idiocyverse stuff is it usually requires that the show is in season for me to actually make stuff for my Weird and Pointless playlist consistently. The most recent one I did was that stupid video where I overanalyzed Twilight's phrase skiddly boppy boo. Twilight and Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie are the ghosts that make up Twilight's soul, and they're trying to get out, and because Skittle is Skittles, and Skittles taste the rainbow, and Boppy means it's the Bop It, and the Bop It is a party toy. Party, Pinkie Pie, there you go. Boo, ghosts, there you go.
But they're still alive in Ponyville.
And I don't have anything in my notes to counter that.
The worrying thing is that wasn't overly inaccurate to some theory channels.
Like those channels that try to figure out the Illuminati.
Or just game theory.
Freddy Fazbear has one gut. Do you know who else has one gut? That's right, the Dick Dick. The Dick Dick is a small animal that lives in insert country here. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, God.
Don't forget to breathe, man.
I'd say you're gonna freaking kill Trennant before this is over.
We've got 2 minutes left.
Yep.
Do we want to end off on anything specific? Not another song. Let's not murder that joke already. Save it for special days.
Yep.
Every day is a special day. When we get the Chippy Jabber.
Huh?
Well said.
Whatever, man. People are messaging me on Discord. No, stop. Well, I guess before we close out, I'll go ahead and just plug something really quick. God damn it, I put myself to Do Not Disturb. Whatever. To anyone who does not know, there's a group of developers in the Brony community making a new video game that's basically it's inspired by those animations called the Ponies, which are basically The Sims but with ponies, but they were only animations. They weren't an actual game. This group is looking to remedy that. They're looking for help. Anyone who happens to be good with using C# programming or 3D modeling, they have forum threads all over the place. Equestria Daily did an article on them. I suggest anyone who wants to help go do that. Otherwise, just keep an eye on them. I'm really looking forward to that. Don't know why I'm plugging this at the very end. Maybe because that's where the messages I'm getting are coming from. But, yeah, with that, I think we'll go ahead and end off this episode of Jibber Jabber here. So, thank you all very much for tuning in and listening to us talk about random shit for an hour. So, keep listening, keep your minds open, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Penis.